Maze Runner is a movie released in 2014 and was distributed by 20th Century Fox and also directed by Wes Ball. However, it is important to highlight that this film was done based on James Dashner's novel. About the writer of the novel, James Dashner, he's an American writer of speculative fiction, primarily series for children or young adults. Taking into account The Maze Runner, one of the most representative novels of this author, the film shows a boy named Thomas who wakes up in a metal box without memory. He only remembers his name. He emerges into a huge glade with other young people. They have learned how to survive under their own set of rules in a completely enclosed environment. Also, they survive in the glade with their own production, agriculture, and supplies, which arrive in the elevator every month with a new boy. After Thomas's arrival, a girl, who is the first woman in coming to the glade, she sent up into the glade with a note saying she's the last one, ever. It implies that there will be no more teenagers into the huge glade. The huge glade is surrounded by a maze which has been tried to be solved by the selective group of young people. They are called the Runners. Nevertheless, the maze is patrolled at night by big creatures with spikes named Grievers. That's why nobody has survived at least a night in the maze.
Marxism is based on the ideas of the philosopher Karl Marx. It states that society is in a conflict between the rich and the poor class. Furthermore, it is a political and economic philosophy that analyzes the implication and complication between the capitalist system and the social classes. Marxism looks for how the lower of working classes are oppressed, mainly in their jobs. The continuous conflict between the social classes led oppressed people to create the revolution in order to form a new order in society and an economic, where the capitalism is abolished.
Taking into account what is shown in the film, the author wants to represent the political power and the lower class rebellion based on the Marxist theory. According to Eagleton, 1976, Marxism is closely related to the policy. This British literary theorist argues that the policy plays a fundamental role in Marxism due to the control it has over the lower class. Taking into account this argument, we could identify this characteristic in the film The Maze Runner. As an illustration, the glade was controlled by a powerful scientist who kidnapped young people in order to create a new society in the middle of a maze. This maze has stone doors that open every morning and close every night. It's important to mention that this maze changes its route every day. The purpose of the scientist is to control everything in the glade, but also in the maze. But why a maze? How did she control the maze?
To answer this question, a maze is used to confuse and to obfuscate in order to get a person lost and disoriented. During the movie, one of the characters said,
"You only have 3 rules. First, do your part. No time for any freeloaders. Second, never harm another glader. None of this works unless we have trust. And most importantly, never go beyond those walls." You understand me, Greenie?
That part of the movie let us infer that the maze is an obstacle between the one who has the power and ones who have the control and manipulate. There is also another important aspect that shows how the scientists manipulate the maze. In certain way, we can say that she has an army in the maze which is protecting her not to be discovered by the gliders. The soldiers are called grivers. A griver is a technological creature that lives in the maze and comes out after dark. Its purpose is to kill the gliders who venture into the maze. With these symbols, Marxism is evident in this field. But if in the Marxism theory there is a revolution, did the teenagers create a revolution against the scientists?
According to Trotsky, 1923, a proletarian revolution is a social revolution in which the working class attempts to overthrow the bourgeoisie. Marxists believe proletarian revolutions will inevitably happen in all capitalist countries related to the concept of war revolution. In the film, we could perceive that the teenagers were the proletarian and the scientists the bourgeoisie. It is important to highlight that the teenagers were members of a communist society while all of them received the same materials and food to survive in the glade. One of the most representative symbols in the movie about the Marxism is the fact that the older, more senior boys look after you as long as you do your job and follow the rules. However, as well as it happened during the Age of Enlightenment, teenagers created a revolution against the scientists who controlled their lives. All the teenagers entered into the maze and they started looking for the section which would be opened that day. They fought against the grivers and finally they found the section that was opened. Once they found the open door, they entered into the building where the scientist was. But as she had the control over the maze, she filmed a video and ran away to another place. It shows the power she had and also that the proletarian will never achieve the same level than the monarchy.
As a conclusion, Marxism is still present in the 21st century. Currently, it is common to see how the United States and some other powerful countries have the control over the working class and even over the small countries. In this case, these powerful countries can be compared with the scientists in the field and the working class with the teenagers. The maze running is in a certain way a metaphor that compares our current life and the life in the glade, where the maze are the old challenge that the working class have to surpass in order to have better life conditions or to stay in the same level as the monarchy. Finally, it will be really difficult to be a society where the Marxism predominates and plays with us. The film has the specific example when the scientists say, "This rebel group, teenagers who were in the glade, may just be another variable in the experiment, and they weren't the only group being evaluated. We smell a sequel."